Hi everybody, and welcome back to Musings of an Earthbound Alien. Okay, this is probably the best way for you to hear me because I don't think you're going to hear me with the helmet on, but the helmet gives you an idea as to what we're going to be talking about. And that's motorcycle safety. It's that time of year again. It's the season to be safe. And just give me a second to get the gear out of the way. I would have brought the bike in, but that would have been too much because I haven't taken it out of storage yet. That's next week I get that out of storage. But anyway, we'll be right back and we'll talk motorcycle safety on this week's Musings of an Earthbound Alien. Be right back. Right. Motorcycle safety is the season. 'Tis the season to start thinking about riding safely. A couple of things to remember. There's two different types of vehicles on the road. One is the four-wheel car, truck, bus vehicle. The other one is a two-wheel vehicle, the motorcyclist. Let's talk motorcyclist first. As far as safety ideas, there's a number of basic things you have to remember. First of all, operating a motorcycle takes different skills than a car, obviously. You go to training for that. In Ottawa, there are 3 or 4 different really good training facilities, but you find these around the world. And my advice is always take the training. It's important. The thing with training is that you don't just take it because you think you're going to save money on the insurance. Take it because it's important to take. Low speed maneuvers, handling the bike under different conditions, riding in the rain. All these things are what you learn on the training course. And thinking ahead, the more progressive way of looking at riding is anticipating, but at the same time anticipation in a smart way. You're not just guessing, you're actually paying attention to the road around you, and the training really focuses on a lot of different things that way. But a combination of consistent education, regular education, refreshing regard and looking at things like even the traffic laws. The laws are the same. They're basic laws for cars and trucks and motorcycles are exactly the same no matter which roads you're on. But it's important to remember that cars are not necessarily, drivers are not looking out necessarily for motorcyclists, and that's where you run into problems, but we'll talk about that specifically in a few minutes. It's important to understand some basic motorcycle tips to make sure your ride is a safe one. And you know what? It doesn't make any difference if you're an experienced rider or a brand new rider. These are going to be important no matter what. You're bringing your bike out of storage right now. You're getting ready in Canada anyways, in some places like the UK. I mean, obviously, you're able to ride almost the entire year round without having to worry about the weather as much. But in Canada specifically, you're getting your bike ready. Some of you are already on the road, and fantastic. That's the way to go. But get your bike tuned up. Whether you do it yourself, if you know what you're doing, and only if you know what you're doing, you should tune up your own bike. Otherwise, get it done. Get the oil change, check the chain if you have a chain drive, or even the shaft drive. Make sure that your lubrication is up to speed, that your gauges work, that there's no leaks in the fuel system, your brakes are checked. Brakes on a car and a motorcycle are identical in the sense that you got to make sure that they have enough pad wear on it, that it's not overly worn, that you're able to stop both front and rear brakes. Get those things checked up before you even start to ride. Then check your equipment. Your helmet, make sure if it's too old, if the padding, check the padding on it, make sure that it hasn't been compressed too much. Your visor, if you have a pin visor that it's not overly fogged or yellowed or anything like that, that your visual acuity, peripheral vision, everything is perfect in your helmet. No cracks, dents, you haven't dropped it or anything like that. Your chin strap, make sure that that still works, that it hasn't been worn. These things are important. Your jacket, whether you use a light jacket, heavy jacket, just even basic protection as far as like a plaid or something like this, where it's more of a skin than an actual motorcycle jacket, but they do provide some protection. Make sure that it's in good condition. Your gloves, make sure that they're not overly worn. Boots, check all of these things to make sure that they're in good shape, because that's your first thing to start of the season. Make sure you're wearing appropriate gear. Make sure your clothing, the clothing that you wear minimize the amount of injuries in case of an accident or a skid. Doesn't eliminate them, obviously. We know that inherently a motorcycle is more dangerous than a vehicle. You have a vehicle, four wheels, far more stability than on a motorcycle. You have a roll cage in a vehicle. You don't have that, obviously, in a motorcycle, but there are things like airbags even for a motorcycle, whether it's on the bike itself, on some of the higher end bikes. I think it's the BMW and a couple others that have started to put airbags, believe it or not, on a motorcycle. Yeah, I'm not convinced that works as well as, let's say, the airbag built into the jacket itself, but unless you've got 1,200 1,500 Canadian and above, you're not going to be able to afford, those jackets. They're expensive, but there's some evidence to suggest that they work. Making sure that you are wearing your helmet, making sure that you're wearing your gloves, your boots, proper ankle support, protection, knee pads, back brace, elbow, all of your padding is up to snuff and hasn't degraded or anything like that. Ride defensively. Don't assume that other drivers are going to be able to see you. You know that most drivers aren't even looking for cyclists on the road. And we've all called drivers certain things. Make sure that they're not texting, because we know that drivers will text. But drive defensively. Don't be distracted yourself by fiddling with whatever. I know that some bikes have knobs and buttons and just as much gadgetry as a car. I disagree with all that crap and Felger carb, and if you watch Battlestar Galactica, you'll know what that was. But if you are not necessarily a purist, but if you think about the amount of distractions that are already built into some of these newer vehicles, you'll realize that you need to be careful when you're riding. And driving defensively means driving in a way that you're not distracted, but you're also watching for other drivers that may be distracted. You also don't want to cause a violation by getting in somebody's way just because you're pissed off, or you think, oh, I'm on a bike, I'm going to be faster than somebody else, because that just gets people going, and people are stupid, inherently stupid. That's the human race for you. You don't want to start this competition between you and a car. You're going to lose if you're on the bike. Keep your riding skills honed through education. In other words, that's what I alluded to before, is make sure that you continue your education. You might be an expert rider, but even expert riders can deal with and always do with a quick refresher at the beginning of the season. Don't get on and think you're going to be perfect every single time. Just do some slow speed maneuvering. Get yourself worked up to riding. But make sure that, and there's some advanced rider courses, by the way, that are always a good idea to take. And every single one of the advanced riders, they've been doing it for years, and they'll tell you it's a good idea to always keep your skills up to date. Be awake and sober. Don't ride when you're tired. Don't ride when you're pissed off. Don't ride if you are constipated. Please don't ride if you're constipated. Holy crap on a cracker. And I am not exaggerating with that. I have heard of some horror stories with people, cars and bikes for that matter. Anyway, that's for a different story. When you're getting ready to ride, again, you know, you want to do your walk-around checks. Your tires, under the motorcycle, headlights, taillights, signals, make sure they all work. Hydraulic, coolant fluids, fuel. Make sure you have your fuel topped up. If you're on an electric bike, because they are around, make sure that you're all set to go and that you're fully charged. You know, make sure your mirrors are adjusted, test the horn, brakes, clutch, throttle, everything before you ride off into the sunset. You just want to make sure you're ready to ride when you do ride. As far as drivers, cars, bikes are not as easy to see. It's been proven that drivers have a hard time seeing motorcyclists for some strange reason, and intersections are, and I said this before and I'll say it again, intersections are the worst place for an accident because they happen so often. More accidents happen between car and motorcyclists at intersections than at any other place on the road. And a lot of bikes end up T-bone. And if you're on a bike, slow the frack down. Don't speed through the intersection. If you see the light's been red for a while, slow down. You know you're going to end up having to stop eventually. And if you're the driver of a car, don't speed through the bloody intersection. Slow down before you get to the intersection. It's common sense. You don't need to speed to get where you're going. You're going to be late anyways. You're going to be really late if you end up killing somebody on a motorcycle if you're the driver of a car. Because you are in a rush and you run the yellow on an intersection and you're running over a motorcyclist or you're T-boning another car. Either way, I mean, my son in a car got T-boned by some other idiot that was in a rush and ran the yellow light. And it's like, holy, you don't want to get that phone call, okay? Don't be stupid. It's important to remember that if you're in a car, turn your head. I've said this before, I'm going to keep on saying it. Turn your head. Make sure that you're not relying on your lane indicator, your little light that comes on your left and your right. Turn your head. Get off your damn phone. I've had this conversation before. Get off your phone. You don't need to check your text. You don't need to do anything like that. Stay off your phone and make sure that you're paying attention and focusing on driving. You cannot drive, eat your hamburger, munch on your fries, sip on your coffee, check your text messages, even if it's hands-free, talking on the phone, and driving and paying attention to the road and expect to see the motorcyclist that's trying to pass you or turning in front of you or changing lanes. You're not going to see that person because you've got everything else around you that's a distraction. Wake up and just focus on driving. That's your job. When you get in your car or your truck, your pickup, whatever, you're focusing on driving and nothing else. All right? Okay. Because if I see anyone that I pass at an intersection and I'm stopped for a light and some idiot rolls up beside me and they're texting or checking their messages on their phone, I will fucking say something. And I know other writers that will point this out and they'll give you the evil eye and tell you to stop texting, because not only is it against the law, it's really dangerous, and it's my life and my kids' life and my ex and my friends, and it's their life that you're playing with by texting and being distracted like that. Stop it. Really, it's not a long show today, very quick, but it's something that we need to watch for, okay? Motorcycling is a great sport. I love it since I've been doing it, and I haven't been doing it that long. But it's important to follow the rules. It's important to stay safe. Thinking ahead is really important. I'll put the links up to a number of different Motorcycle Safety Association in the description below. I'll also put some links up in the description below on some really, really good websites and videos from people that are experts in the field of motorcycle training and safety. One of them is a UK, and there's a couple of US ones and Canadian, and all very good, all really important to pay attention to, but I'll put the links up below. And as always, if you like the video, put your comments in the description, in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and come back soon. I'll try and get some more videos up and running a little bit faster. I took a bit of a hiatus there for a couple of months. Had a lot going on in my my regular day job, and I'll be back. All right. So take care. Stay safe. Ride safe. Drive safe. Be safe. See you all later.